War doesn't just destroy cities, it destroys livelihoods. Around the world, ongoing conflicts are pushing millions of people deeper into poverty. Families are forced to flee their homes, jobs disappear, prices rise, and basic necessities like food, water, and healthcare become harder to access. As economies collapse and resources are diverted to military spending, the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen. Understanding how war fuels poverty is essential if we want to build a more stable and equitable future. Today, we will talk about how war is increasing poverty around the world. So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Introduction. War is one of the most powerful forces of destruction in human history, and its effects extend far beyond the battlefield. While it is often understood in terms of political conflict, military strategies, and territorial disputes, its deeper and longer-lasting impact is economic and social, especially the rapid increase in poverty. Around the world, regions affected by war consistently show higher levels of unemployment, hunger, inequality, and lack of access to basic services. This makes war not only a security issue, but also a major global development crisis. In today's interconnected world, even a single regional conflict can have global consequences. Wars disrupt trade routes, damage international supply chains, increase fuel and food prices, and weaken global financial stability. For countries directly involved in conflict, the impact is even more severe. Entire economies can collapse within months as infrastructure is destroyed, businesses shut down, and government systems weaken. As a result, millions of people who were once economically stable are pushed into poverty almost overnight. 2. Destruction of national economies. One of the most direct ways war increases poverty is through the destruction of a country's economy. During conflicts, industries shut down, trade routes collapse, and businesses are destroyed or abandoned. Factories that once provided jobs are bombed or forced to stop operations, while agricultural production declines due to unsafe land conditions and labor shortages. As a result, national income falls sharply. Studies show that prolonged conflicts can reduce a country's GDP per capita by double digits within a few years, leaving entire populations with fewer opportunities and lower incomes. When economic systems collapse, poverty rises almost immediately and can persist for decades even after the war ends. 3. Unemployment and loss of livelihoods. War creates massive unemployment by disrupting every sector of the economy. Workers lose jobs as businesses close, governments redirect spending, and infrastructure is damaged. Farmers cannot cultivate land safely. Shop owners cannot operate freely, and skilled workers often flee the country in search of safety. This widespread loss of livelihoods pushes families into extreme poverty. In many conflict zones, people are forced to rely on informal work or humanitarian aid just to survive. Without stable income, households struggle to afford food, shelter, education, and healthcare, deepening the cycle of deprivation. 4. Forced displacement and refugee crises. Another major factor linking war and poverty is forced displacement. Millions of people are compelled to leave their homes due to violence, becoming refugees or internally displaced persons. Displacement often means losing everything: homes, land, businesses, and savings. Refugees frequently settle in camps or unfamiliar regions where employment opportunities are limited and resources are scarce. They face barriers to education, healthcare, and legal employment, making it extremely difficult to escape poverty. Host communities can also experience economic strain as they struggle to support large influxes of displaced populations, spreading poverty further. 5. Collapse of infrastructure and public services. War severely damages essential infrastructure such as roads, schools, hospitals, electricity systems, and water supplies. This destruction disrupts daily life and limits access to basic services that are essential for economic development. Without functioning schools, children lose years of education, which reduces their future earning potential. Without hospitals, diseases spread more easily, increasing mortality rates and lowering productivity. Damaged roads and transport systems make trade and movement difficult, isolating communities from markets and services. The breakdown of infrastructure not only increases immediate suffering, but also delays long-term recovery from poverty. 6. Food insecurity and rising prices. Food systems are highly vulnerable during war. Agricultural land is often destroyed, farmers are displaced, and supply chains are interrupted. As a result, food production drops while prices increase sharply. Families are forced to spend most of their income on basic food items, leaving little for other needs such as education or healthcare. In some conflict regions, famine conditions emerge, leading to severe malnutrition and even starvation. War-related disruptions in global markets can also increase food prices worldwide, affecting even countries not directly involved in conflict and pushing vulnerable populations into poverty. 7. Reduced government spending on development. During war, governments typically prioritize military spending over social and economic development. Funds that could be used for education, healthcare, infrastructure, and poverty reduction programs are instead redirected toward defense and warfare. This shift reduces the state's ability to support vulnerable populations and invest in long-term development. At the same time, corruption and instability often increase during conflicts, further weakening public institutions. As government services decline, the burden of survival shifts to individuals and families, many of whom are already struggling with poverty. 8. Long-term global and cyclical effects. The impact of war on poverty does not remain limited to conflict zones. It spreads globally through interconnected economies. Wars can disrupt global supply chains, increase energy prices, and cause inflation, which affects even distant countries. Low-income nations are often hit hardest because they depend heavily on imports. Additionally, war and poverty create a vicious cycle. Poverty increases the likelihood of conflict, and conflict deepens poverty. Many of the world's poorest populations live in fragile or conflict-affected states, making it extremely difficult to break this cycle without sustained international support and peace-building efforts. 9. Conclusion. In conclusion, war stands as one of the most destructive forces contributing to the rise of poverty around the world. Its impact is not limited to immediate loss of life and physical destruction. Rather, it creates deep and long-lasting economic and social damage that can persist for generations. When conflict breaks out, it disrupts entire economic systems, destroys infrastructure, and forces millions of people out of work. As industries collapse and trade slows down, national incomes fall sharply, pushing already vulnerable populations into extreme poverty. Beyond economic decline, war also causes large-scale displacement of people, forcing families to abandon their homes, land, and livelihoods. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.